Welcome to the Trucking Through Life podcast, where truckers Tom and Michelle discuss angels, spirit, and soul subjects in a down-to-earth manner while providing practical applications for the everyday person. Hi, everybody. It's Michelle.
And I'm Tom.
And welcome to another thought-provoking episode of Trucking Through Life.
Thought-provoking. I like the way you put it that way.
Yeah, thought-provoking.
Not exciting, not, informative, thought-provoking. Like
Thought-provoking. Should we stick with that one maybe for the future?
I think we should stick
Thought-provoking? Okay, we'll do that then. All right, so let's see. We've had quite a week this week. There was something that I had forgot that we had experienced, and I'm like, oh, you're going to need to talk about that on the podcast. What was it? Where we went or what we did? I can't remember. Let me think back.
Oh, I remember what it was.
Uh-huh.
We decided to take a shortcut this week.
Tom decided to take a shortcut. Really, he didn't want to tell me he was just bored with taking the same highway, so he just wanted to take a different route, which he could have just said that instead of making up all these other things, but that's okay.
So we went on Highway 50 across Nevada and Utah, which is known as the loneliest highway in America. You can literally drive for, an hour and not see another vehicle at all. And it's a 2-lane road through the mountains. There was a couple of towns we went through. One of them was Eureka, and I forgot what the other one was. And they're like old mining towns.
That was really kind of neat. And the one we went through, and I forgot the name of it.
We stopped and got an ice cream.
We got an ice cream, yeah. It had Stokes Castle was up at the top, and I looked up the history on that, and that was owned and built by a mining baron. And he only lived there for 1 month, but it was then listed on the National Historic Register. So that's kind of neat because it's like this 3-story castle looking thing up on top of the hill. So that was kind of cool, but it did feel like you were going back in time on that road.
Yeah, it was pretty neat, and the mountains had a lot of snow on top of them, but I would not want to make a habit of doing that road because it was a lot of mountains, hairpin turns, and 2-lane road. And
but it's like a good leisure, like scenic drive.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You mean with the semi?
Yeah, not a truck-friendly road, But you know what? It was fun for something different. And then we came out and went up through Colorado. And, oh yeah, she got the freezing fog.
Yeah,
it's that
and
time of year.
he left me with the freezing frog, the rivet, the freezing fog going over the mountains in Vail, Colorado. Thank you, Tom. And not to mention, the week before I was left with the freezing fog going over Elk. Thank you, Tom.
No problem. Anything I can do to help.
Okay, so our subject today is remote healing. Okay, like what is remote healing? I think Tom has his idea of remote healing, don't you?
Sure.
I think his idea of remote healing is changing the batteries in the TV remote.
I'm all better.
So remote healing, what is it? How does it work? Okay, so you have to really open your mind for this, but it really does work. So first I'm just going to talk about a basic experiment that's been repeated many times over.
Now, you're going to have to stay with her on this, okay? So pay attention, boys and girls, because
it's going to get deep in here.
Yeah, it's going to get deep again. I got my boots on. I'm good.
Okay, so first, before we go into the subject, I want to talk about the basic experiment that has been done over and over and repeated, and it has to do with the pH of water. So you get the pH of water, and you have a person, you test the pH before, and you have the person focus on either raising or lowering the pH of water. And then after they do that, and for a certain length of time, then you test the pH of water again, and lo and behold, it does change. All right. The reason I'm mentioning that first is because the power of our mind, not just the mind, but the power of our energy systems, it can transfer from one area to another. And even though we may not be able to see it, they are starting to see it with some new diagnostic tools. It is still there. So what has happened is when that person is focusing on that pH, it's not so much the power of their mind. That helps. But they're setting an energy pattern in space. And then that energy pattern is traveling through the space into the space of the water's energy. And by focusing on changing the pH, that energy template that the person is sending to the water will then form and affect the energy template of the water, therefore changing the pH of the water. So I'm going to see if I can find a link. I'm going to start including some research links with the podcast because I'm always saying there's research for that. So I will put that research link up when I find that in the discussion or in the notes of the episode. So if you want to look at that, you can. My goal is to kind of bring traditional healthcare providers to open their mind into accepting some of the energy medicine treatments or approaches that they're actually being researched and proven now. So that's kind of another goal. But another goal, in addition to the healthcare providers, is just to help us learn. You, the everyday person, help you learn about your energy field. Because I guarantee you have experienced some new things this last year or two. You have to have. Because the energy coming into planet Earth is coming in, this particular energy, for the first time in, I think, for the first time in forever.
Okay.
From Frozen.
You gotta quit breaking out into the song every time you do one of these.
Okay.
You know, this is not that kind of
So
show.
okay. It's not a song and dance show.
No, it's not.
But it could be a dog and pony show.
And it is. So is he the dog or the... Never mind. Dog and donkey, so I'm just wondering.
Okay, so back on our subject. Remote healing. So how does that work?
Abracadabra, you're fixed.
No.
No.
The people still have to do their work. They can't just think someone's going to touch them and they're fixed. They still have to do their internal work, and they have to be receptive. So that's their part of it.
Shazam! Done.
No, it's
No.
not Shazam either.
Hocus pocus, rattle
Maybe
the chicken
Hocus Pocus. Maybe Hocus Pocus.
bone. Rattle your chicken bone. Voila.
Okay, so you would find an energy medicine practitioner. There's different forms of energy medicine practitioners. There's Reiki masters. I think even emotion code practitioners are considered energy medicine, possibly EFT. You would know it because it would be different.
I did take a Reiki class one time.
You took a Reiki class one time,
I did.
Tom?
Yeah, yep. My dad said, boy, grab that rake and get them leaves up.
So you did Reiki, huh?
That's not the same.
No, it's not the same. No. So if you're unsure of what energy medicine is, just Google it. We have that capability these days. Just Google it. A lot of times your massage therapists are also energy practitioners, your cranial sacral therapists, all kinds of therapists out there. Body workers primarily are energy workers. So what would happen? I'm going to explain this from my perspective. If someone had contacted me and asked for a remote healing, what I would do from my perspective is I would test for what they needed. Now, I use flower essences. I also use affirmations. I use emotion code. I have a whole barrage, a whole collection of different approaches that I use. So what I would do is I would test their energy system. Remember, I said I'm an energy reader, so I can read a person's energy system. I do not need to be near them or by them. I can tap into that. We're going to explain how all that works at the end. That's all part of the how does the remote healing work. Tap into their energy, and then I would load in whatever they needed. Say they needed a correction for the emotion of sadness that was originated at age 12 and it's lodged in their right shoulder. Okay, that's just an example. I know you're like, what? But that's one thing I might be sending. So what I do is I send that energetically by visualizing it, and then a template forms, and that template then travels through the space to the person's energy system. It's received in the person's energy system, and then it's drawn into the physical cells of the person, because everything exists in your energy system before it works its way into your physical form or your cells. All right, so I know in the past I have said that I can read an energy system and see a disease sitting on the outside that may not be inside yet, and that gives the person I'm reading for the advantage that we know it's there. So then we then we identify the factors that are leading into that, whether it's a faulty belief pattern or an action or an emotion. We identify the root of that, and that is addressed, and then it can subside from there instead of working its way into the body and becoming a physical symptom. So traditional medicine works once we have the symptoms. So they're seated in there already. But the real preventive work, the real healing work can occur when you identify it before it's there, or you're having a strong emotion and before it becomes a physical disease. Maybe it's just a physical discomfort, identifying that and then addressing that particular issue and releasing it, resolving it, unblocking it, returning it back to the universe so that it is no longer holding you back from your own growth. So someone would contact me if they want a remote healing. I scan their energy system and I identify what needs to be addressed. A lot of times it's blockages in emotions and thoughts. Those seem to be the two really big ones that come up. You can still have physical symptoms. You can still have spiritual symptoms. So I can still see those and address those as well, but it's whatever is priority at the time in the energy system. So what I'm doing, let's say I'm going to load in the flower essence. This particular person I'm reading for needs 3 drops of the Paralandra flower essence of cauliflower loaded in. So what I would do is I would load in, and by loading in, I'm visualizing that picture in my mind's eye. A lot of people say it, or in your mind, but I like to think it's in your mind's eye because it's more a psychic type of thing. So you're going to visualize loading that 3 drops of cauliflower into such and such and such a system for their highest and greatest good, well, for them and those connected to them, and I load it in remotely. So what happens when I have that picture in my mind's eye, the psychic energy, I'm just going to use the word psychic. I try to avoid that, but I think that sometimes that's the easiest way for a lot of people to understand energy medicine is by using the word psychic. But let's not think it's like a mystery, because we all have gifts. We just may not have acknowledged them yet. And I'll tell you what, they're getting stronger. So you may not be able to not acknowledge your specific psychic gifts much longer, because they're going to start screaming at you pretty soon. Especially if you're empathic. So what I do is I load that visualization into my mind's eye. Some people, a Reiki master might say that I'm using my third eye, or that psychic chakra that's in the middle of your forehead. That's fine. And it creates a template. So it creates a pattern, a template. So think of like a snowflake. Every snowflake is different. Every snowflake has its own pattern. So we're creating that energy snowflake, that energy pattern. And then that invisible energy snowflake is going to float through the energy fields, because remember, everything is energy. Every single thing is energy. So even the air, you can't see it. There's energy in the air. And this energy snowflake / template, it's going to float through the energy streams that connect us all, because we're connected by these energy streams. It's impossible for you not to be. And it's going to float through the energy stream. So you can think of the wind gently blowing this energy snowflake around until it finds, oh, here's my home. This is my person. This is so-and-so. This is who this was meant for. And then it's going to slowly settle into that person's energy system. Hold on just 1 second while I get a drink of my Coke Zero. My throat gets really dry in the truck. In fact, I have to address that now that the fall and winter season is upon us. It gets so dry in this truck. It just wreaks havoc on our sinuses. So I think we're going to have to keep like a wet sponge over the air conditioning vent or something to disperse some humidity in here. Okay, so we were back to our snowflake story. Our energy snowflake, it finds the energy system of the person that I created it for, and it settles into their energy system. And from there, it slowly works its way into the body or into where it needs to go. It's like a little key. It unlocks whatever the problem was. And when it unlocks it, then it can be released. Now, another thing I like to say about remote healing, it is not like Tom said, it is not like Shazam, you're healed. No. There's some work on your part, okay? Because your existence is 100% your creation. 100%. Now that's going to scare some people because a lot of people like to blame things around them for stuff. But the truth of the matter is, if you are in a circumstance, even in an unhealthy circumstance, even if you have had some sort of trauma that someone else created, the truth of the matter is, okay, here's that thought-provoking. You actually created it in conjunction with that other person. Now that's a scary thought, but the reason you did was so that you could learn something, so you could grow from that circumstance. So we need to turn our society around because we are such a victim society. We need to turn that around, and we have to know that we have attracted and created our entire existence, good and bad. But what it's up to you to do is process it and find out what from those experiences that you created that you need to learn in order to grow. So I could do a remote healing for someone and I can send those energy snowflakes toward them. But if they're not receptive, they've already put a nice wall around their energy system. That snowflake's not going to get through. Or maybe they have the thought that there's no way this is going to work. Okay, if that's your thought, you've already blocked it. So why even try it? Okay? It is time for us to say, I'm game, I'm going to give it a whirl. All right? It is time. So the person that receives the energy healing, the receiver, they first do have to be receptive. And I will tell you that even though I'm doing a remote healing, I am also sending a description of what I did in my remote healing. Okay, I sent you this essence of cauliflower, and that is to address this particular emotion, blah, 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 blah. And I did this because your energy system is holding this. So there's an explanation that I also send with all of the corrections that are made. And when you become aware of that, that's when your work begins. You might want to get over. I don't know if you can see us, Guy.
Yeah,
okay. That's when your work begins. When you become aware is when it begins. So you have to decide then what you're going to do with those corrections. Are you going to let those corrections come into your system, possibly flushing out strong emotional reactions, fears? They can even flush out body symptoms, quivering, fevers, vomiting. I just worked on someone yesterday. I worked with them. This was not remote. This was in person. But I said, you will probably experience a lot of nausea and vomiting at some point within the next couple of weeks, because this particular emotion that is tied up in your body is ready to release, and that's the avenue that it's choosing to relieve your body with. So just so you're aware of that. All right? So there is 100% responsibility on your part, even with a remote healing. Because you know the old saying, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Okay? Us healers, we can send the healing your direction. But unless you're receptive to it and open to it, it's not going to do a darn thing. So it's just going to waste a bunch of people's time. One prime example of this that I bet almost 100% of our audience has some experience with is the power of prayer. The power of prayer for people has been shown over and over, research project after research project after research project. So there is no doubt that the power of prayer helps a person heal faster. That has been shown. Even, I think, my traditional healthcare providers and friends would agree with that, because that's been researched so many times. What is the power of prayer? It is setting the energy template and sending it to someone remotely. Sending it to them remotely. So, if the power of prayer has been shown and researched time and time again to be effective, why is it hard for a person to believe that healings from a healer or an energy practitioner or a Reiki master, why is it hard to believe that that is not possible? It should be easy to believe that it's possible, because you've already, probably most of this audience, experienced energy healing in the form of prayer, and it has been remote. You probably just didn't realize it. You didn't make the connection, but that is the connection. The healing power of prayer is setting an energy snowflake into motion psychically from the person or group of people who are praying, and sending that energy snowflake across the energy field to the person that it's meant for, and then it's received by the person and their energy field, and it soaks in and it begins to make the changes. So all you have to do really is not say, I don't understand how that remote healing stuff works. All you have to do is say, hey, I know that remote healing works because that's what the power of prayer is. They're kind of the same thing. So there you go. It's not as far-fetched as, it's not as thought-provoking as I thought.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Not as thought-provoking as I thought.
You lost me. You lost me back at hello, folks.
No, it's hi, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Lost me at that point.
Tom's doing the perfect husbandly chore. He's tuning me out. But that's good. He's driving. He needs to focus on his driving. So, remote healing. Yes, it does and can work. I will say that with, I think, every remote healing I've done, I don't know if there's been any that I haven't, but there may have been. Almost every one of them comes with a set or 3 sentences. I call it the affirmation set. It's 3 sentences like I am this, I will do this. They're all action words, but it's what I call the spiritual script. It is 3 sentences, have to be repeated 3 times by the recipient. 3 times in a row, 3 times a day for 30 days. I call it my 3-3-3 script because it's 3 phrases repeated 3 times in a row, repeat it 3 times a day for 30 days. The 3-3-3. And 3 is significant, by the way, because 3 is the triad. It is also the balance of being human. So balancing your energy within, balancing your energy on the planet, and balancing your energy with the universe. That's the big triad there. The human experience is your energy, the planetary experience that you're living on, and the universal experience that we're all in. So I think that's why it's 3. I think that the 3-3-3 addresses that triad. So it addresses your energy, the energy of the planet you're on, and also the energy in the universe. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that's what it is. Just seems logical to me. But of course, some of this stuff doesn't seem logical. So remote healing. That is something that is valid. It is effective. And it can be done anywhere, like from one person anywhere in the world to another person anywhere in the world. I'm shocked because I'm starting to get a lot of inquiries from halfway around the world. And I'm like, oh my goodness. These are people who aren't ready for readings yet, but they will be in the next year. They're just asking questions. And that's what I encourage you to do. Ask questions. If you are not a written type person, which Tom is not. He's a verbal person, but I'm a writing person. I like to communicate in writing. Tom likes to communicate verbally. Wouldn't you say?
And sometimes louder than others.
Yes, and sometimes louder than others. So he's going to call a person and I'm going to text a person. It's just the difference between us. But if you're not the kind of person who wants to contact us with the contact form because you don't want to write it out, you can also download the Wisdom app because I am on there for like 10 and 15 minute times where it's a 2-way conversation that we can talk back and forth on these subjects and I can answer your questions live. So that's WISDOM. I'm on Wisdom at m.wood, m.wood. So it's something you might want to think about. I'm a certified mentor on there, and it's a new avenue that I'm branching out into. I also started a page.
Does that mean that you were like full of wisdom?
Well, it means that I talk on a subject that I'm very well versed with, which is all this airy-fairy stuff.
All right, stop and think about this, folks. Okay, so you hear this once a week. I hear it every day.
Day in, day out.
All the time. So after a while, I hear blah, 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 wah, 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 blah, 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 blah. And unfortunately, when I hear that type of language, I understand what she's saying.
Yeah, Tom has really started to try some of these concepts, and they've been very helpful.
Tell everybody that.
Oh, well, this is one that everyone's always interested in is manifestation. And you've become quite good at manifestation.
Not really.
Yes, you have, Tom. He's like, no, don't tell everyone. Okay, you suck at manifestation.
All right, fine. Here's a prime example. Okay, so for people who actually know me know that I bought a car about 6-8 months ago, and I've been restoring it.
Like an old car to do over.
Yeah. So anyway, there is a part that is on the inside that is broken, and I have searched the entire country, high and low, for this part.
And what did I tell you?
Start manifesting it, and it'll come to you. And
how long did it take you to manifest that part?
12 hours.
Yeah.
The part's on its way.
Yeah. See? So there you go. And that's kind of the point that I make, that you do create your own life. And you have to be open to the remote healing for the remote healing to work. You have to want to look at the worst and most uncomfortable parts of yourselves in order to flush them out and understand them. So the more work you're wanting to put into it, the more happiness you will have, because the more your energy will open up and you will receive and be able to create the things that you want around you. And I am not kidding about that. That's absolutely true. If you're not sure what's standing in your way, you can contact me. I can help you sort it out if you want. I have no problem with that.
But you do know what stands in my way most of the time.
Don't say me.
See, she can also read minds.
But feel free to contact me with any questions or anything like that, because sometimes some people might feel alone until they find out who their pod of support people are. And I'll tell you, there's a big pod of support people out there who are having spiritual experiences, who are energy workers, which is what I consider myself, an energy worker, an energy reader. And we're there to help you guys. We're there to help you guys get through this, because it's new for you and it's confusing for you. And we want you to, okay, just make up your mind. There's a truck here. He's trying to decide if he wants out or if he doesn't.
Yeah, he's got a problem, too.
Oh, he's got a problem, too.
Yeah, he's got a brake that fell off.
A brake? Oh, he does have a brake that fell off. I see it hanging down.
Yeah.
I wonder if he knows that.
No.
Probably not. Well, I am excited to say that our truck and trailer is always in tip-top position, because our company stays right on top of it. So we don't ever have to worry about those types of issues. But so I do want to emphasize that is up to the person to make the changes if you're going to have a remote healer or energy reading. And I know there's some people who will choose not to, and that's okay too. There's no judgment from energy healers. We do not judge. That is not our place. Our place is just to help you understand your energy and how to use your energy and how to be the best that you can be. Be the best that you can be. Wasn't that a motto years ago for one of the armed forces?
That's be all you can be.
Oh, be all you can be. Okay.
The Army.
The Army. Okay. So anyway, I am more than happy to help you with that. So you can contact me through email at mariahsmessage@gmail.com. Also, our truckingthroughlife.com website has a contact form. Just click on contact and you can send us any information you want, or you can converse with me live through the Wisdom app if you would like to do that. So a lot of ways you can get in touch with me. If you're interested in readings, you can find all that information on my Enlightened Universal Messages Facebook page. Like my page, and you can tab through that, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. So anyway, that concludes our session today. I want to let you know that I am lining up guests for our future podcast. I have quite a list right now, and I'm getting that all squared away with them so we will be having some guests coming up soon on some really cool subjects and things.
But it won't be me.
No, it won't be you. There might even be some without you. We don't know, Tom. It depends on what time I can interview them. So, will you be hurt?
No.
Oh,
Not
are
at
you
all.
sure?
I am positive. You know what? I am. Here, I've got a resignation letter.
No, you don't get to resign, because I will still have to have you do the live trucking report, because we can still do that separately, and then I can do the interview. So,
Well, okay. So just so you know, we are in southern Missouri today. New place for you, by the way. It's 52 degrees. The wind is calm. Roads are nice. Blue skies. So there's your updated trucking report.
yeah, it's going pretty good right now. So, pretty smooth sailing as far as trucking today. Not like the ice, the freezing fog the last 2 nights that I drove. Thank you very much, sir. But he keeps telling me I need the experience, and I really can't argue. I do. So, all right, everyone. So that concludes our episode on remote healing. We really want to thank you for listening. If you have any of the episodes that you think might apply to friends or family or anyone in your social pod, just send them the link or send them the episode straight to their phone. Please continue to pass word and listen, because we really appreciate our listeners. We want to thank you, thank you, thank you. And this is Thanksgiving month, so much gratitude to all of you for listening. And until
It's only Thanksgiving if you're here.
No, it's Thanksgiving in Canada.
No, it's not.
It
It's a
will
different-
be.
it's a
No,
different
it's
day.
this month though. But it's this month. It's Thanksgiving month. I'm positive. It's a week before ours, I'm pretty sure. Because we have friends in Canada, remember? And it's, I think, usually a week before or something. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. Anyway, much gratitude to our listeners, and until next time,
Never drive faster than your guardian angel can fly.
Bye-bye.